The zookeepers at the Metro Richmond Zoo were closely watching one of their favorite cheetahs as she prepared to give birth. When the time came, she delivered 2 healthy cubs. But what followed took everyone by surprise. Cheetahs are stunning animals with a unique presence. They're known as the fastest land animals in the world. But even with all that power and beauty, they're in trouble. Because of poaching and changing climates, cheetah numbers are dropping fast, and they're now at real risk of disappearing. That's why so many wildlife groups are stepping in, doing everything they can to help these animals survive and grow in number. One of those efforts led to a truly remarkable moment. Every time a cheetah gets pregnant, it's a big deal, both for the survival of the species and because it's become so rare. These animals don't breed randomly or often. Cheetahs have specific habits that they've followed for generations, and they tend to stick with them. Female cheetahs often separate from others as they mature, and they're very selective about who they mate with, which makes population growth slow, but it's also key to giving their cubs the best chance. That's exactly how it was with Milani, the female cheetah in this story. Milani lived at the Metro Richmond Zoo. She was 3 years old, strong, smart, and beautiful, and considered ready for motherhood by cheetah standards. The zoo staff decided it was time to introduce her to a male cheetah, hoping she would help grow the global cheetah population. They tried pairing her with one of the most impressive males they had, but things didn't go as planned. In true cheetah fashion, Milani wasn't interested. There just wasn't any spark between them. It turned into a bit of a challenge. Milani was perfectly healthy, but she didn't want anything to do with her would-be mate. She kept her distance, barely interacting with him at all. After nearly 6 weeks of trying with no signs of progress, the team realized it just wasn't going to happen. They knew they had to try a different approach. Milani wasn't going to bond with just any cheetah. It had to feel right to her. The team was fully committed to finding the right match and wouldn't push her into something she didn't want. That's when Cheetah came into the picture. Cheetah was a 6-year-old male with a calm, confident nature. He'd already fathered 1 cub before. Right away, Milani seemed to like him, and to everyone's relief, they hit it off quickly. Their connection was obvious. They often cuddled up for naps and spent time playing around. They hardly left each other's side. The zoo staff was thrilled. Milani had finally found a partner she was comfortable with. While Cheetah had some parenting experience, Milani was brand new to it, so the team kept a close eye on her. In July 2012, they began noticing some interesting changes in her. Milani's feeding habits started changing, and her usual routines slowly shifted. Something was definitely going on, and the zookeepers needed to figure it out. After running some medical tests, their hopes were confirmed. Milani was pregnant. The whole team was thrilled. After all the time and effort, they were finally going to welcome a new cub, and it felt like a big step forward for the cheetah population. A few months later, it was time to start getting ready for the birth. Cheetah pregnancies don't last very long, so the staff had to move quickly. These animals are usually pregnant for about 92 to 98 days, just over 3 months. To make sure everything went smoothly, the team prepared a cozy birthing pen just for Milani. They used soft materials on the floor to make it as safe and gentle as possible for the cub when it arrived. They also installed a camera in the pen. Since they couldn't always be physically present during the delivery, the camera gave them a way to monitor her in case anything went wrong. Like with people, it's hard to know the exact day a cheetah will go into labor. They had a general idea, but nothing was certain, so they stayed ready around the clock. On September 19th, Milani began acting a little different. The first thing the zookeepers noticed was how restless she seemed. She kept pacing back and forth, clearly unsettled. Then, just a few minutes after 3 a.m., Milani walked into the birthing pen. The staff watched closely through the camera, hearts pounding and eyes full of emotion. Their sweet Milani was about to become a mom. Inside the pen, Milani moved around constantly, trying to find the right spot to give birth. She lay down, then crouched, then stood up again. As a first-time mom, she wasn't sure what felt right yet, so she kept trying everything her instincts were telling her to do. At around 4:23 a.m., Milani delivered her first cub. As soon as it arrived, She gently cleaned it off and gave it her full attention. The tiny cub had its eyes closed, but it was breathing well and looked strong. The zookeepers were overjoyed. Just as they were getting ready to step out of the observation room and bring the newborn in for a checkup, something unexpected happened. In the best way. It turned out Milani wasn't done yet. After licking the first cub clean, she began pacing again. Her restlessness returned, and the staff, who had just started to move, froze in place. They quickly turned their eyes back to the screen, focused completely on Milani's every move. As Milani continued to pace, she was careful not to step on her tiny newborn. Then, at exactly 5:22 a.m., about an hour after the first cub, she delivered another healthy baby. Just like before, she gently cleaned it off and made sure it was breathing well. Once satisfied, she carefully picked it up in her mouth and placed it next to its sibling. Finally, she lay down to rest. The zookeepers decided to give her some quiet time with her new little family, so they kept watching through the camera, full of joy. Moments later, they proudly shared the happy news online. Milani had given birth to 2 cubs. The project had been a huge success. For a first-time mom, she was doing incredibly well. Everyone was praising Milani for her calm and gentle care, but they had no clue that her mourning wasn't over yet. Just a couple of hours later, something surprising happened. Around 7:20 a.m., Milani stood up and began pacing once more. This time, she gently moved her 2 cubs to a different spot in the pen, careful not to harm them. Then, like before, she crouched and waited quietly. In about 10 minutes, her 3rd cub arrived. She cleaned this one too, and then lay down again. The staff was amazed. It's not rare for cheetahs to have multiple cubs, but a gap of nearly 2 hours between births? That was unusual, and Milani wasn't done yet. At 10:05 a.m., another surprise came. A 4th cub. This one arrived almost 3 hours after the 3rd, and for a moment the team worried something might be wrong. But they soon realized Milani was just pacing herself. She was saving her energy for one last miracle. At 11:34 a.m., Milani gave birth once again, her 5th cub. It was a beautiful moment. While cheetah litters usually include 3 to 4 cubs, Milani had gone above and beyond. She gently cleaned her final newborn and curled up to let all 5 of them nurse peacefully. 6 hours of labor is exhausting for any mom, so the zoo staff gave her space to rest. The entire zoo was buzzing with excitement. When they finally shared a sweet video of Milani snuggled with her cubs, people everywhere celebrated her strength. The vets checked each cub and confirmed they were all in perfect health. Milani's incredible birth had given a real boost to the hope for her species. Now part of the Proud Moms Club, there's no doubt she'll be an amazing mother. Would you have believed this story if there hadn't been a camera to capture it? How do you think you would have felt witnessing a moment like this? Let us know in the comments below. If you loved Milani's journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartwarming stories like this one. See you next time.